Welcome to Recording Audio Using Audacity. Today I'm going to show you how to record audio in Audacity and just how easy it can be, even for beginners. Let's get started. First, we're going to assume that you've already had Audacity downloaded to your computer, you've opened it up from your desktop or from your pinned icon on your toolbar. Now we're open and in the program. We've also assumed that we've plugged in the microphone with the USB port to your computer and that everything is on and set up correctly for the microphone, which we went over in Module 1. So, getting started. Once you're in Audacity, you're going to want to go to Edit, and at the bottom of that drop-down it says Preferences. So click on that, and then a pop-up will come. And under Devices, you want to make sure that your playback is from whatever you want to hear the audio through. So you can either do it through the speakers on your computer, which is how I'm doing it, or if you're listening to the audio in headphones, then you'll want to check that these would come from the Yeti stereo microphone. That is all dependent on how you're choosing to listen to your audio back. But the big thing is your recording device. You want it to be the Yeti stereo microphone, which should show up for you as an option. And you're going to want it to be 2 stereo channels. There's mono, there's stereo. We'll talk about that in just one moment. Other than that, all of these things, they're really not going to interfere with just recording straight audio. So I would go ahead and just hit OK. Now, if you've already done that before and you're coming into Audacity again for a new session, you don't have to do the edit preferences every time. You can go to this little microphone icon right here and choose from a drop down there. We still wanted to say Yeti stereo microphone and 2 channels. Now, what are channels? That's a great question. Have you ever listened to music where you feel like something's only coming from one ear? You want to hear it in one ear and not the other? Well, that's the channels that are being used. If you want something to come into both ears, you're going to want 2 stereo recording channels. If you're doing something with an effect, per se, that would make them want to hear in one ear or just the other, then you can go into mono recording. But generally, for the purposes of a podcast, we're going to keep it at 2 stereo recording channels. The next step that you're going to want to do is set your levels of your audio to make sure that everything is hitting peak performance and not overblowing the sound or being too quiet. So you're going to want to hit the record button, which is this red circle right here, and start talking. These are the channels that they're referring to. You're going to see some colors. Green is good, but yellow is also kind of good. You don't want to get to a bright orange or a red. In that case, you're just way overdoing the audio. So you might see where I emphasized way, it went up to orange. It's going to be a little too loud there. The area that you want to stick with the most during your recording is somewhere between -12 and -6. So aim for that and you should have a nice quality sound. The next step, once you've recorded this test audio and you've looked at your levels, is you want to listen to it back and make sure it does actually sound good to your ear, that you're not hearing too much ambient noise, too much crackling. You don't want a sound that is going to sound unpleasant to the ear, and you want to make sure that everything sounds nice and crisp and clear. So we're going to play back. The way we're going to do that is we're going to start the audio right here with this button. It's a play button, which is the green triangle, and we're going to go ahead and play our audio back. So let's see if we can hear it. It went up to orange. It's going to be a little too loud there. So what I've been told is the area that you want to stick with the most during your recording is somewhere between -12 and -6. Great. Now I heard some places where it definitely got a little, as we would say, too hot. So what am I going to do about that? There's several things that can be done. You can adjust the gain on the back side of your Blue Yeti, or you can even sit slightly further away from the microphone and see if that would work a little better. But what I'm going to want to do is record, delete until I get to that really nice sound and where I'm happy with every level that I can possibly do. If you know there's a part of your story where you are going to talk louder, or part of your lesson where you might over enunciate or make it very big, telling that story, or even just laugh if you have a co-host, or I tend to laugh when I'm talking myself, so just like that. So if you have moments like that, you might want to try to replicate them on the microphone as you're testing everything out, just to make sure there's not going to be a random, really bad pop of sound right in the middle of your flow when you're recording and doing really well, and you may not catch it until you go to edit. So you're just about ready to start recording. Here are a couple tips that will help in ensuring a wonderful quality audio sound. First, be aware of explosive sounds. Popping a P or hissing with an F or an S sound can be very uncomfortable for the listener. Pop, you can over-enunciate the P, but if you're too close to the microphone, it's going to pick up the air coming from your mouth. It can be particularly hard for people who are taught to enunciate while they're presenting. So how do you correct this? Well, the best way to do it is to put your microphone at a 45-degree angle from your mouth. You don't want it to be directly in front of your mouth because it's going to get all the air that comes from those really explosive sounds and go straight into the microphone. But if it's at a 45-degree angle from your mouth, then it's still picking up all of your audio, but the air is going right past the microphone. This is how we can ensure a nice, consistent sound throughout our audio. Also, be careful about moving too much. Your chair could speak. I just noticed that I was clicking my nails together, and the microphone will pick up these random ambient noises. So don't move around too much. Don't hit the table when you're talking. Don't touch the microphone while you're talking. It's really important to make sure that you are not creating distortion while you're talking. The other reason that you don't want to move too much while you're talking on the microphone is because as you go further away and closer back, you may hear a bit of inconsistency in the sound. You might actually sound to the listener further away, get softer, or get way too loud and too on top of that microphone, which I think we've all heard somebody who talks way too close to a microphone. So we definitely want to make sure that we're staying a consistent distance away from the microphone while we're emphasizing our points. Well, okay. I think that now you are set to go ahead and give it a try on your own and see if you can record your audio and set your levels and get ready to actually record your podcast.